He dragged Lydia behind his horse. For more than a mile, her body hit the dirt again and again. Rocks sliced her skin, her dress tore to shreds. Blood streaked the dry earth where she passed. The sun was merciless. It beat down on her bare shoulders. It baked dust into her wounds. Every gasp was a stab of fire. She screamed at first, her voice cracked until nothing came out, her throat raw, her chest heaving. But the horse kept running. The man never turned his head. Not once. The rope pulled tighter with each stride. Her arms stretched back, her wrist cut deeper. Her body bounced like a rag through the wilderness. At last the rope snapped. Or maybe he cut it. Lydia crashed face first into the ground. The dirt filled her mouth. The taste of iron mixed with dust. The horse thundered away. The man kept riding as if she was never there. She lay there, her breath faint. Her body twisted in pain. Time slipped. Minutes blurred into hours. Vultures circled above. The wind dragged across her broken skin. She tried to move. Her arms shook. Her knees buckled. Still, she pushed forward. She crawled inch by inch. Her fingers clawed the dirt. Her hair fell over her bloodied face. Then through the haze, she saw it. A well, old wood, weathered stone, a rope dangling loose. Beyond it, the outline of a ranch. Her eyes fixed on that sight. Her heart clung to it like the last spark of hope. She dragged herself closer. Each pull of her arm tore at her wounds, but she did not stop. At the edge of the well, her strength gave out. She collapsed. Her chest heaved. Her eyes rolled back. When she opened them again, a shadow stood above her. It was Elias, a man weathered by years under the western sun. Hat low, boots caked with dust, a red scarf at his neck. He did not move at first. He stared at her, a young woman torn and trembling, clothes in tatters, skin raw with bruises, her lips cracked from thirst. Elias felt his chest tighten. He had seen hardship, but never cruelty carved so deep. He knelt slowly, not to touch, just to see her closer. Her eyes met his, wild with fear, but still alive. She whispered, barely a breath. He dragged me for miles and left me to die. Elias said nothing, not yet, but one thought struck hard inside him. What kind of man could do this to her too? And could such a man be allowed to walk free? Elias did not speak right away. He stayed still by the well. Lydia clutched the tattered cloth around her shoulders. Her body shook through the sun still burned hot. Her eyes darted like a cornered animal. He removed his hat, held it in his hand, let her see his face in the light. Weathered, strong, but not cruel. Her breathing slowed. A tear traced down her dirt-stained cheek. Elias spoke soft. "You are safe here." The words hung in the air. They were simple, but for Lydia, they felt like a lifeline. He walked to his cabin, returned with a bucket of water. He knelt and offered it. She drank slow. Every swallow burned her throat, but she kept drinking until it was gone. Her shoulders sagged, her body still trembled, but her eyes cleared a little. Elias studied the torn remains of her dress. It was hardly clothing anymore. He turned without a word and went back inside. When he returned, his arms carried a folded white bed sheet. He spread it open and wrapped it around her carefully, not touching more than he had to, not looking at her as anything but human. Lydia clutched the sheet. For the first time since she hit the dirt, she felt covered, not only in body, but in dignity. Her lips moved. Her voice cracked. One word slipped out. "Why?" Elias lowered his eyes. He rested his hand on the rough stones of the well. "I got a daughter," he said. "Her name is Mary. She's about your age, married now. Lives far to the north. If she was in your place, I would pray someone would help her, too." Lydia's eyes filled. Her chest shook with quiet sobs. The rancher did not reach out. He let her cry. When the tears eased, she lifted her face. Her voice was still weak, but steady. "There is more you need to know. Before he tied me to that horse, I saw something behind his barn. Something no one was meant to find." Elias held her gaze. The lantern light from the cabin flickered in his eyes. He did not press her. He knew the truth would come in its own time, and when it did, it might reveal something darker than either of them expected. The night was heavy with heat. Caesars cried in the grass. The wind carried dust across the porch. Lydia sat on a wooden chair wrapped in the white sheet. Elias leaned against the post with his hat tipped low. He said nothing. He only waited, her eyes fixed on the dry ground. Her hands clenched the fabric close. Then slowly she began to speak. "I saw it behind the barn." Her voice was faint, but each word cut clear. "The dirt was fresh. It did not belong. So I dug. I thought I would find a dead calf or some broken tool." She swallowed hard. Her eyes glistened, but it was not that. Her voice dropped, her breath shook. I pulled out a dress, not mine. Torn, dark stains all over it, then a pair of shoes, small like they belonged to a girl younger than me, and hair, a whole bundle of hair tied with leather. The chair creaked as she shifted, the knight pressed close. I carried it to him. I asked what it was. I begged him to explain. He just looked at me. His face was stone, her jaw tightened, her shoulders stiffened. Then he struck me out hard. I hit the ground, and when I looked up, he said one thing. Her lips trembled as she repeated it. You should not have seen that. Elias's eyes narrowed, his chest rose slow. He had seen men kill for cattle. He had seen men kill for land, but this was worse. This was sickness. Lydia's voice steadied, though her hands still shook. I knew right then he was not only cruel, he was a murderer, and I was next. The wind rattled the loose boards on the porch. The night seemed to listen with them. Elias finally spoke low measured. You are safe here tonight, but safety ends when the sun rises. Justice has to be carried out, and justice in the West is not gentle. Lydia met his eyes. The fear was still there, but something else had begun to burn, resolve. The truth was now in the open, and tomorrow would not be about hiding. It would be about finding the strength to stand again. The sun rose over the plains. Lydia sat on the porch, her body still weak, her hands clutching the bed sheet around her. When she looked up, Elias was already gone, his horse tracks cut across the dirt road toward town. Hours passed. The heat grew heavy. The ceases screamed in the grass. She wondered if he would return. She wondered if he even meant to, but then she heard the hooves. Slow, steady, sure. Elias rode back into the yard with a bundle tied behind his saddle. He dismounted and carried it to her. He did not say much, only placed it in her hands. She opened it with trembling fingers. Inside was a dress, cotton, plain, clean. Her breath caught. No one had ever given her such a thing. Not out of kindness. Nah, not out of respect. Elias tipped his hat as close to your size as I could find. It is yours now. Her throat tightened. She rose slow and stepped inside the cabin. When she came back, the bed sheet was gone. The new dress hung loose, but modest. It covered her wounds. It gave her back her dignity. Elias looked at her for a long moment. Not as a stranger, not as a victim, but as someone standing tall again. You wear it well, he said, like it belongs to you. Lydia touched the fabric at her waist, her lips curved in a small smile, the first in a long time. They walked together across the yard. The sun beat down, the dust swirled at their feet, but her steps grew firmer with each stride. By the well, she paused. Her hand rested on the stones, the same place she had fallen broken. Now she stood in a dress that was her own, and she felt the fire returning inside her. Her voice came steady. He will not stop, not until someone stops him. And I cannot run anymore. I have to face him. Elias's eyes darkened. He gave one slow nod. He knew the fight ahead. And he knew it would not be gentle. The wind carried her words away across the prairie. But they left a mark that would not fade. Now the question is when Lydia returned to confront the man who tried to destroy her. Would justice finally be served? The day came sooner than she thought. Lydia stood in the yard with the dress Elias had given her. The morning air was sharp, but her heart was steady. Elias saddled his horse and looked at her. No words were needed. They both knew where the trail led. Together they rode out. The land stretched wide and empty. Dust lifted beneath the hooves. The silence between them was not heavy. It was strong. When they reached the small shack where the man lived, Lydia dismounted first. Her legs shook, but she held her ground. The man stepped from the shadows of the barn. His face twisted when he saw her alive. He laughed low and cruel. I left you in the dirt. And here you are again. But Lydia did not bow this time. She stood tall, her voice steady. You left me to die, but you did not finish the job. Now I am here to finish what you started. Elias stood behind her, silent, solid, like the land itself. The man lunged, but Lydia was ready. She swung the rope Elias had placed in her hands. The same kind of rope he once used to drag her, only now it bound him. The struggle was short. The man hit the ground, his wrists tied. His fury useless. Lydia looked down at him. Her chest heaved, but her voice rang clear. You thought I was weak, but I am still here, and justice will speak louder than your cruelty. They led him back to town. The people gathered, faces hard, voices rose. The law of the West was simple. A man guilty of such evil would not walk free again. When it was done, Lydia stood in the dust. as though the crowd faded and the sun hung low. She looked at Elias, her eyes no longer broken, but alive. She had survived, she had fought back, and she had won. The West was a place that tested every soul. Some failed, some became monsters, but some found the strength to rise higher. Lydia's story is not only about pain. It is about standing again when the world drags you down. It is about finding hope in the most unlikely places. And it is about remembering that even in the darkest hour, there is a chance for light. What would you have done if you were Lydia? Would you have had the courage to fight back? Or would you have turned away and let fear decide your fate? If this story moved you, do not forget to like this video. And if you want more tales of the Wild West full of struggle and redemption, make sure you subscribe. That way, you will never miss the next ride into the frontier. Because out here, every story is a lesson.